Alright, here we are. This is going to be part 3, twin cam FXR conversion. Last time there was no motor, none of the stuff in the back, no front end. So got a lot to go over. Basically, we'll start back here. Last time I was talking about the shock bolts. This was an earlier frame. It had the 3/8 stud that's fixed to the frame. And I was explaining how I was going to cut that off. You definitely don't want that on your frame. What you want to do is cut that off and either drill it from the back side with some sort of angle drill, because you don't have enough room in between the frame rails for a full-size drill. Or cut it flush and drill it from the outside. Center punch it, drill it from the outside. But this is late model Dyna, Street Bob, 06 and up type stuff. These are 1/2 inch. They space it out perfect. That's what you want to do. You could just use a 1/2 inch bolt and space it out, whatever. But you definitely want to go to 1/2 inch. That's what we did here. That's where I'm at. That's done. Got the fender mounted. The struts are the cut rate. Oliver out in California makes those. They're really nice, something different. Not too crazy, not too expensive. If you're interested in those, hit them up. You know, some people say the spacing, the shock out. I mean, look what a foot control is. This isn't some skinny little chopper. Plus, it gives you something to hook a bungee to if you want to strap something down to your fender when you pack the bike to go somewhere. Next thing is the master cylinder. I was talking about that in the last video. I cut the bracket out. Any of these I usually end up doing, I cut the bracket out anyway for these conversions. I just, for some reason, never seem to use the stock master. I end up with a Japanese master like this. This is what we're going with. That's going to go in there. This is actually the original bracket I cut off, using it as a template, but that's going to go in there. Let's see if I can make this a little better for you. That's going to go in there, like that. And then what I'll do is, this linkage rod will get shortened to where it needs to be. I'll take it off, and I'll have that center drilled and tapped for this metric thread. Get the gist? So that'll be nice. I'll run the line up from the master up to the stock reservoir. So that's the master. Got the fender done. Got the primaries mounted. I'm not drilling the hole in the primaries. I'm not going to do that. I know a lot of guys do. That's a thing. I'm not doing it. I'm sure a lot of people don't also, but I'm going to leave the front piece from the FLT. I'm going to come with the stock linkage back like a heel shifter, maybe use a Sportster shifter and flip it back, and use the Dyna foot control mount, but something here, custom and short, and make a speed shifter. 1 up, 4 down. I've built bikes like that before. I've owned bikes like that. It's not a problem. Plus, you end up with 1 less hole in the primary. That's the last thing I want, is another hole. I gotta send it out. Somebody's got to do the machining. It's more money. It's not necessary. I want less holes, less time, less money, less outsourcing. Not building a spaceship. Guys were joking around about that. You know who you are, Virginia. My brother's from down there. Grease, grime, moonshine. Chris, what's up? This isn't a spaceship. This is a motorcycle. I know this is a big shop. I'm in a 6,500 square foot shop. We got a little mill, little bullshit mill. We got MIG, TIG, all that stuff. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do this simple. This is not my shop. I don't own it. I just work here. It's Sunday, down and dirty with bad foot. Anybody could do this. This isn't going to be a, something crazy. So we're going to go with the stock foot mount for the Dyna and something there. We're just going to have to modify a shifter arm. 1 less hole. The hole brings me to another point I wanted to talk about these bikes. The primary is not vented. The inner, the outer, the inspection, the dirt, none of this stuff's vented. I've been working on these bikes for 20 years. If somebody could show me where the hole is and teach me something, I'd love that, but I know they're not. Your tranny's vented, from the tube. 4 speeds are even vented. Your motor's vented, right? Head breather, case breather. Primary's not vented. If you ride around and cruise, you won't have a problem. You're going to run these bikes hard, and in the heat, it's going to be a problem. The fluid's going to get thin. They're going to build up a little pressure, and it's got nowhere to go. I'm going to be making vented derby covers that'll let the air out, no fluid. That's going to be a whole nother thing. But that stuff's not vented. Yeah. Dyna cross member, Dyna kickstand. I was talking about that last time. That works out real nice. Tucks up under there. And this works out even nicer when this is a DX kickstand, because you see how it comes right here in the frame? The DX kickstand, I think, is either bent straighter or it's a little longer. So it comes back a little farther and tucks up even more. But that's only if the bike's tall enough to run it. So we got that stuff mounted. We got the fender and struts mounted with the 1/2-inch stud. We got some master cylinder stuff. FYI, if you're going to cut this out and you want to go Japanese master cylinder, do it before you do all this stuff. I had the tranny in here when I did it. The bike was partially mocked up. It's a pain in the ass because they weld this bracket all the way around. So you got to cut the weld on the back side all around. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So when this thing's stripped down, cut it out. Make your life a little easier. Also didn't have the front end on there last time. This is an early frame. It had a 35mm front end with the stop and the lock back here. We'll go in late model 39. They got the stop in the front. So you need to do like a later model frame. It's just a little square piece of stock needs to be welded right in here, because if not, the trees will blow out your front end. You don't have to run it, but if you ever drop the bike or something, this is taking this right out. So, I mean, you're going to be doing welding on this project. It's a very little piece of square stock has to go in there to solve that problem. This is where we're at. Another thing I want to talk about, it's a little contradicting what we got going on here, but is these later model swing arms have the clavicle bearing, not a bushing. The original FXR bushing was rubber. It made the bike wobble. That was a whole thing, right? So an upgrade is you could do this swing arm, or you could do the bearing that's in the front of this swing arm in your FXR swing arm. Well, over the time of doing these and having that in my bike and whatnot, and friends, I've come to the realization, and I've had to fix this, and a friend had to fix this. You got to watch these bushings in the front of these swing arms. Or even if you have an 03 and up dresser, you need to watch out for this. When they start to wobble, see, this swing arm's tight right now. There's no jiggling around. You can't really see it in the video. But if I show you my bike, this side play, you take it all apart, everything looks good, until you realize the clavicle bearing is not sitting in the swing arm the right way anymore because it hogged out the swing arm. You know, the original stuff, I wish I had it in front of me. The original FXR stuff is just rubber. When it starts to go, it's just rubber. It doesn't hurt anything except itself. When this stuff starts to go, it takes out your swing arm. So if you got a billet swing arm with a clavicle bearing, and you got a steel clavicle bearing bushing sitting in an aluminum swing arm, I'd pay attention to that. You know? So, truthfully, this is already done. This guy's not going to take this thing and do a gazillion miles on it. He's more of just a ripper around town. So I'm not going to do it. But the next one I am going to do, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about when it's all apart. And I might even be putting rubber bushing in a later swing arm. As a matter of fact, I just noticed somebody makes a seal bearing, like a seal ball bearing, like a wheel bearing, pivot shaft kit. That's another upgrade, but it's not a good idea. First of all, ball bearings don't take lateral force well. Anybody that has a sealed rear wheel bearing and beats on their bike will know about that. I've tried them all. Ceramic, European stuff, $3 Chinese stuff, the Harley stuff. I get no mileage out of them. They suck. These later model pivot bolts are 3/4. Like a early style rear axle, front axle. I wish somebody would do something with a Timken bearing in a race, and we could really get some, get some mileage out of these things and build something good. If somebody's got an idea for that, let me know. I could help you out. You can help me out. Let's make that happen. So we did the shocks, spoke about that. The 1 inch, the half-inch bolt in there, like I said, that's from a Street Bob. You can use a regular bolt, but these do work out nice, man. They stick out on the backside perfectly. The perfect amount to get a nut on back there. The spacing's almost perfect. Master cylinder stuff. Cross members welded in. Talked about the fork stop. So we're getting there. If anybody's got some questions, just drop them down in the comment box. All right, until next time. Peace.